Hi everyone and welcome back to our course on Word 2019. In this module we're going to start out by taking a look at the Microsoft screen, so really just getting an overview of everything that we're looking at on the screen so you can start to identify some of the options that you have and also understand some of the terminology that we're going to use throughout this course. So what we're looking at here first of all is a blank document. Now the first thing I want you to notice is if you cast your eyes up to the top of the screen, we have what we call the title bar. So currently my title bar says document 1 and then it says dash Word. So it's identifying the application that I'm currently in. And it's also showing me that I haven't yet named my document. So you'll find that when you create a new blank document, the default name will be document 1, document 2, document 3, and so on. So just be aware of that because you will see this change when we get around to saving this document a little bit later on. Directly underneath that, we have some tabs, and this is what I mean by tabs. You currently can see Home and Insert, and then we have Draw, Design, Layout, References, Mailings, Review, View, Developer, and Help. Now, what you see on your screen might differ very slightly to what I have. It really depends which one of these tabs you have turned on. But in general, you will see running across the top these tabs. And what these tabs contain are what we call ribbons. And those ribbons house all of the commands that you need. So you can see, for example, I'm currently clicked on the Home tab, which is showing me the Home ribbon, which is all of these commands running across the top here. And in general, these commands are organized onto their corresponding ribbons. So in general, what you'll find on the Home ribbon are the commands that you use most often. So things like formatting commands, cut, copy, paste, lots of things to do with finding and replacing words in your document, paragraph options, all of that kind of stuff. I'm not going to go through all of the ribbons, but just know that they are organized logically with their corresponding commands. Directly underneath the ribbons, we have what we call the Quick Access Toolbar, which you can currently see I have a few different commands on my Quick Access Toolbar. If I hover over the first one, you can see I have the Save command. I then have the Undo, the Redo. I also have a Spell Check. I have a New Blank Document. I have a macro that I've set up. And I also have an insert address. Now, I've customized these very slightly, and you can customize this quick access toolbar. Now, the whole point of it is to give you quick access to the commands that you use most often. So that will vary greatly from person to person, depending on what you do in your daily work. So these are some of the ones that I use most often, but as I said, you can customize them. If you click the drop down on the end, you'll see you have lots of different options that you can add to that quick access toolbar. The ones that are currently ticked are already on the toolbar, and I could choose to add any of these ones listed here if I wanted to. Alternatively, if I wanted a completely different command which isn't listed here, I could go to More Commands and select something to add to that quick access toolbar from there. And again, we'll cover that in more detail a little bit later on. But just be aware that that is a completely customizable toolbar just to help you access the commands you use most often quickly. Now, another thing I should point out before we move on fully in relation to these ribbons, again, I'm clicked on the Home ribbon. You'll see that the commands are organized into groups. So we have here clipboard, font, paragraph, and styles. And at the bottom of each of those groups, you'll see that there's a little downward arrow. And if you click that, what you'll find is more advanced options or more options related to that group. So again, just be aware that you're not limited to the commands that you can see within the group. If it has a drop-down arrow, if you jump into there, you'll more than likely find some more advanced commands in there as well. Moving to the top of our document, you'll see that we have a ruler running across the top, and we also have a ruler running down the side. And on this top ruler, you might be able to see these little sort of triangles and this little block at the bottom. And you'll see as I hover over, it says left indent, hanging indent, and also first line indent. So we're going to get into this a bit later on, but this helps you align your text in your document. You can move the indents in and out. So just be aware of the ruler and the indent functionality on there. Moving down to the bottom of the screen, we have the status bar. And on the left-hand side of the status bar, this gives us some general information about our document. So you can see that I'm in section 1 and I'm on page 1 of 1. I currently have 0 words in my document, and it's also telling me that my language is set to English, United States. And obviously these are going to change as I start to add things into my document. And then all the way over on the right-hand side, this is where we'll find our views. And this is just a quick way of switching between views. And these buttons relate to how you're currently looking at your document. So you can see the first one there is read mode. And if I switch over to it, it gives me a different way of looking at my document. Now, it gets rid of basically everything on the screen and just leaves my document. Now, I don't have anything in my document at the moment, which is why it's showing as nothing. But that's quite a nice way of switching to something. It just gives you a little bit more real estate on the page so you can see more clearly exactly what you're looking at. So it's great if you're trying to read through a document. The next view we have is print layout view. Now that's the view that you'll be in by default, and in general that's the view that you'll be in when you're working in your documents. And the next one along is the web layout view. So again, if you're preparing something which is going to go on the web, so maybe you want to include things like HTML code, you would go into this web layout view and compose your document that way. I'm going to switch back to print layout view. And the final thing we have down here is a zoom slider. So again, I can just drag this up and down if I want to zoom in or zoom out of that document. It's also worth noting that these commands down here, so the views and the zoom, can also be accessed from the view ribbon at the top here. So you can see the first group that we have are views, and we have a couple more views on there as well. And we also have some zoom options as well. And then really the final thing to point out on this screen is the scroll bar at the side. So I can scroll up and down, and obviously if I have more pages, it will allow me to scroll through all of my pages. So that's basically a very quick overview of what you're currently looking at in this Word screen. So hopefully that's kind of got you a little bit more used to the terminology I'm going to be using throughout this course, and has made you a little bit more familiar. It's a great base for us to jump off into our next module. And that's going to be looking at the Backstage view. So please join me for that.